Dear friends, my name is Harshit Dwivedi and I again welcome you all to my audio tutorial. Now, taking a step forward, I will like to tell you about something about the Sarkaria Commission. You all have heard about Sarkaria Commission. It's very much important from the perspective of studying Indian polity and constitution, and it is also very important for those guys who have taken public administration as their optional subject. And it is very important to know Sarkaria Commission. The point is that this Sarkaria Commission was set up to study center-state relations. The Sarkaria Commission was set up under the chairmanship of R.S. Sarkaria. R.S. Sarkaria is a retired judge of the Supreme Court. So in 1983, the central government appointed a 3-member commission on center-state relations, and it was presided over by R.S. Sarkaria. Now, the task that was entrusted to this commission was the task of examining and reviewing the working of existing arrangements between the state government and the central government in all spheres. And it was being said that after studying all the arrangements and the process of working, it has to recommend appropriate changes and the steps that should be taken in order to improve the relation between the central government and the state government, that is the center-state relations. This was the basic task of the Sarkaria Commission. In short, the Sarkaria Commission in 1983 was formed by the central government. It was a 3-member commission and it was presided over by R.S. Sarkaria, who was the retired judge of the Supreme Court. The work of the commission was to examine the existing nature of the relationship between the center and state, and after assessing that nature of relationship, recommend certain and appropriate measures in order to improve those arrangements. So, the time frame which was being allotted to Sarkaria Commission in order to complete this work was 1 year in the starting. But as the scope of work was very huge, this work was obviously not completed in 1 year. So it was extended for 1 year more, then again for 1 year more, then again for 1 year more. So it was extended for a total of 4 times. And finally, this commission submitted its final report on 1987 October. In October of 1987. So, Sarkaria Commission was formulated in 1983, but it submitted its report in 1987. The point is that it is important to know what basic suggestions did the commission give. Actually, the commission made 247 recommendations to improve the relations between the central government and the state government. I will detail not all those 247 recommendations, but most of the important 15-16 recommendations I will tell, which are important from the perspective of our examination. But before that, I will like to tell you in a very short format what that commission told in its report. The commission in its report said that whatever the existing relations are there between the central government and the state government, there is no problem in those structural arrangements. The existing constitutional arrangements and the structural arrangements at that time, according to Sarkaria Commission, were very much sound, very much principally sound in view of the Sarkaria Commission. But whatever error was there, error was on the functional aspects and the operational aspects. That is, whatever mechanism and whatever arrangements and whatever provisions that were existing in order to look after the matters that involved both the center and the state government, that arrangement, those methods were totally sound. But in order to implement those methods and the functions and the operations that were needed to be implemented in order to implement those arrangements were not very sound. So, according to the commission said that there are need for changes in the functional and operational aspects, but it did not favor structural changes and said that the prevailing constitutional arrangements and principles relating to the institutions are basically sound. This was the point. So, operational and functional aspects needed to be changed. This was the view of the Sarkaria Commission. One more thing said by Sarkaria Commission was that Sarkaria Commission said that the demand to curtail or to reduce the power of the center is not right and it cannot be met. It was of the view that in order to safeguard and protect the sovereignty and integrity of India as a whole, it is very important that the center is strong, and curtailing the powers of the center is not at all a good idea. But Sarkaria Commission at the same time also said that not curtailing the power of center does not mean that over centralization is there. That means that if a strong center is prevalent, if a strong central government is prevalent, it does not mean that the powers will also be centralized. The centralization of power is more related with protecting the sovereignty and integrity of the nation. But appropriate decentralization of powers should be there, because excessive centralization of power will increase the amount of complexity at the central level and a sort of powerlessness at the state level. So, Sarkaria Commission said that there is no need to curtail or reduce the power of the central government, but it is important to gradually start the decentralization of powers so that administration can be taken on with greater efficiency at the local level. However, as far as the national security is concerned, national integrity is concerned, the powers of center will not be curtailed or will not be reduced. So, coming back to the main point, I told you that the Sarkaria Commission made 247 recommendations to improve the relations between the center and the state. Some of the most important recommendations that were made by the Sarkaria Commission are as under. Sarkaria Commission recommended that the All India services should be further strengthened. That is, the powers of All India services officials should be increased and some more services should be created which are on the level of All India. Second, it also said that the President's rule, which is covered under Article 356, should be used with very much caution. It said that if President rules is used under Article 356, it should be used in those cases in which no other alternative method has really left. That is, that in extreme cases when the emergency has become very much high, then only the President rule should be imposed under Article 356. Until and unless there is a huge emergency and nothing else could be done, there should not be the use of President's rule. The next point, the next recommendation that the Sarkaria Commission made, that a permanent interstate council, which will be called as the Intergovernmental Council, should be set up under Article 263 of the Indian Constitution. I will repeat this thing, that a permanent interstate council should be set up under Article 263 of the Indian Constitution, which will be known by the name of Intergovernmental Council. This was the third recommendation. The fourth most important recommendation, that is that all residuary powers that are related with the Department of Taxation should remain with the Parliament. That is, all residuary powers of taxation should be with the Parliament, but all other residuary powers should be placed in the concurrent list of the Constitution, the concurrent list on which both the centre and the state can legislate. This was the one more important recommendation that was made by the Sarkaria Commission. It said that residuary powers which are related to the field of taxation should be included in the should remain with the Parliament, that is in the Union list, but all other residuary powers except the Department of Taxation should be with the concurrent list, that is with both the states and the centre. The next more important recommendation was that the National Development Council should be reconstituted and its name should be changed to NEDC, that is National Economic and Development Council. NDC, National Development Council, should be renamed as National Economic and Development Council. Next most important recommendation, that when the President withholds his assent to any state bill, then the reasons for that withholding should be communicated to the respective state government. This was one more important recommendation, that if the President withholds his assent to any state bill, the reason should be communicated to the state government. Next, that center will have its discretionary powers to deploy armed forces even without the consent of the state government. However, it would be desirable that before the deployment of the armed forces, the states should be consulted. That is, that the Sarkaria Commission said that the center should have the powers to deploy the armed forces in the states without the permission of the state government, but it would be better if the central government consults the state government before the deployment of the armed forces. The next important recommendation was that the Commissioner for Linguistic Minorities should be activated. Another important recommendation was no autonomy for radio and television, but decentralization in their operations. Next important recommendation, steps should be taken to uniformly implement the 3-language formula in the true spirit. I am not explaining the 3-language formula here. It is very famous. It is also told in one of my previous audio tutorials. The next important recommendation was the surcharge on income tax should not be levied by the center except for a specific purpose and for a strictly limited period. The next recommendation, the present division of functions between the Finance Commission and the Planning Commission is reasonable and should continue. Next recommendation, no change in the role of Rajya Sabha and center's power to reorganize the states. That is, the Rajya Sabha and the center still will have the power to reorganize the states. Next most important recommendation. Now this recommendation is very important, which I am going to tell you. The center should consult the states before making a law on the subject of the concurrent list. The next important recommendation made by the Sarkaria Commission was that whenever the state government is appointed, normally the chief minister is consulted when the governor of that particular state is appointed. But this procedure of consulting the chief minister before the appointment of the state government should be written and prescribed in the Constitution of India. That is, prior to the appointment of a governor in a state, the chief minister should be consulted. This procedure should be written and prescribed in the Constitution of India. Next important recommendation, the net proceeds of the corporation tax may be permissibly shareable with the states. That is, the net proceeds of the corporation tax may be made permissibly shareable with the states. Corporation tax, after permission, can be shared with the states. The next important recommendation, the governor cannot dismiss the council of ministers so long as it commands a majority in the assembly. This was one more important recommendation, that is, the governor cannot dismiss the council of ministers as long as the council of ministers is commanding a majority in the assembly. The next important recommendation is the governor's term of 5 years in a state should not be disturbed except for some extraordinary reasons. That is, a governor which is being appointed for 5 years in a state should not be removed until and unless there are some extraordinary reasons to do so. The next important recommendation, no commission of inquiry should be set up against a state minister unless a demand is made in the parliament. That means that no commission of inquiry can be instituted against a state minister until and unless a demand for making such an inquiry is made in the Parliament of India. And the very next important point is that the zonal councils should be formed, and they should be reactivated, restarted in order to promote the spirit of federalism. I have already explained the zonal council in my one of previous audio tutorials. So friends, these were the important recommendations that were made by Sarkaria Commission. The point is, the reason of telling Sarkaria Commission is that if you are able to remember all these points which I have recently told you, if these points are in your mind, you will have enough points to write when you are attempting a descriptive paper of PCS or IAS, or even if a question objective question like this appears in which one of those points are being told, that is, if it is being said that the zonal council should be constituted afresh, who has said it, and the options are given, and one of the options is the Sarkaria Commission, then you will mark Sarkaria Commission as the answer. So these questions can anywhere occur in the objective examinations also, and also in the mains examination. The point is that as far as we are Indian citizens, we should know something about our constitution and about our polity. So for our general knowledge also, these audio tutorials are very much helpful for you. I hope you like this audio tutorial also. Thank you for listening to my audio tutorial. In future, I am going to upload more of them. My name is Harshit Dwivedi. Thank you for listening my audio tutorial. Dear friends, my name is Harshit Dwivedi, and I again welcome you all to my audio tutorial. Now,